What is going on, everyone? Are you an agent that is thinking about joining a team? Or maybe you are a part of a team, but you're thinking about maybe leaving that team? You're not happy. Or perhaps you have so much momentum going on in your business that you're like, you know what, Loida, I've been thinking about starting a team, but I don't know where to begin. And I've also tried it in the past and it totally failed because the agents came and left and they just wanted leads. Well, if you fall into any of those categories, today's video is going to be exactly everything that you're going to want to hear, because I have an amazing guest that is going to be breaking down everything that you need to know, whether you are an agent that wants to join a team or you are an agent that wants to start building a team. Now, before I bring him on, I just want to remind you, I am going live here on YouTube every Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern. And if you haven't caught up on my previous live streams, all I talk about is lead generation, prospecting. We might touch on some of that today here, I'm not sure. But again, make sure that you subscribe and also make sure that you like this video and drop us a comment. As you're joining and tuning in, let us know where it is that you're tuning in from. I am out here in South Florida, and our guest, he is in Rhode Island. And with that being said, if there's anything that you have questions on, please drop them in the comments as we're going, because listen, we're going to be covering a lot of different things in this video today. So with that being said, let me tell you a little bit about my guest. He is a team leader. He is a host of a nationally streamed podcast called The Wealthy Architect, which I had the amazing opportunity to be a part of. And there's so much more that I just want him to share with you. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring on my friend Emilio DiSpirito from the DiSpirito team. Welcome.
Loida, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So for everyone that's currently watching, tuning in, maybe they're not too familiar with you, can you just kind of go ahead and give them a little bit about your background, maybe even how you got started in this business as well?
Sure, yeah. So I've been selling real estate now for about 15 years, started a team 13 years ago. And I got into real estate almost on accident, probably like a lot of our viewers, right? So a friend of mine was like, Emilio, like you're out there going door to door selling janitorial products. Like, why don't you try real estate? So I just dove all in. I burnt all my ships, and you know what? The rest is history. I would not want to be doing anything else. I love people. I love real estate. I love the challenges and all that can come with it.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So you just mentioned something that I love to ask any guests whenever I do have them on, which is, what did you do before real estate and how did you get into it? Which you mentioned you were selling. So it sounded like were already in sales. Is that right?
Yeah, I was in sales. I mean, you know what? Since I was born, I was in sales. And I realized at a very young age, you can really get whatever you want as long as you're giving someone else what they want, right? So, um, you can learn a lot from that. So at age 6, really started knowing that. And at age 9, I started my first business, shoveling driveways, weeding my neighbors' gardens, things like that. Ever since then.
Awesome. Awesome. So obviously, I know that we're going to have a jam-packed episode here. We're going to be talking about teams. Everyone that's currently tuning in, they might have some type of question. So as you're joining us, if something comes to mind that you want to ask, make sure that you drop it in the comments. That way we can bring it up during our live stream. And then also let us know where it is that you are tuning in from. So Emilio's in Rhode Island. I'm in Florida. We have some people in Chicago, also Miami. So again, let us know where it is that you're from. And let's begin with the first question, which is a very popular one. And it's, you know what, Emilio, I am a newer agent. Should I join a team?
Well, depending if that team is catered towards newer agents or, seasoned agents, I guess the conversation you're going to want to have with a team leader, you're going to want to interview the team leaders just as they're going to want to interview you, is what's the structure, aside from the structure you have here, meaning do you have a transaction coordinator? Do you have any type of lead generation? Are you going to teach me how to fish? That's a big one for me. Like I teach my people how to fish because it's that old saying, you teach someone how to fish and you never have to teach them. I'll screw that saying up, but you know what I mean? You teach them how to fish, they're going to know how to eat for the rest of their life, right? And you don't always want to depend on costly lead sources. You want to figure out how to prospect, because if you don't prospect, you die in this business.
Exactly. Yeah. And you just right now kind of answered my next question that I was going to ask. And it's, how do you know that you found the right team? And one thing that you just mentioned that I think a lot of agents don't know when they are talking to teams, or maybe it might happen that they just go to one team and they like the person, but they don't really interview them and seeing if it caters to them in their current state as an agent. How can an agent know that they have found the right team to join?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the right fit, right? Like, are you jiving well with that person? I always look at like people's morals and their standards. Standards are important for me, right? Like, how's that person dressing when they're walking in? And I know things are vastly different in Rhode Island and New York and Connecticut and Boston than they are in Miami, maybe, or California, right? Every market's different, but how's that person showing up? Are they presentable? Are they professional? And really, like, again, like, can I trust this person? It's huge.
Yeah. So along with trust, I know that there's probably some agents that say, well, you know what? I would love to focus on new construction or luxury
Mm.
properties. How do you go about even finding teams that focus on that? Or is it just like go on Google or, I mean, let's say someone is trying to figure that out and currently they're solo.
Yeah, I mean, market specialization is huge. And if you want to do that, I would just go in the MLS and I would see which agents or which teams are continuing to put up those listings. That's huge. And I would look, we got to be hungry, guys. Pick up the phone, call that agent, even if they're solo, and just say, hey, you know what? I admire what you're doing. You've been doing this a while. I saw you had X amount of listings like this. Could I pick your brain? Go have a coffee with them. Guess what? The worst thing that's going to happen, they don't want to have a team, but you learn something. Or you can even ask that person, hey, who is the team in the marketplace that I should know? You're probably already going to know them anyways, really.
Exactly. So you mentioned something again right now, and you're going to say so many things that I'm going to just, want to continue going a little bit more on. And you said pick up the phone. And I want to go back to maybe when you got started in real estate, because
Yeah.
nowadays there's so many distractions. There's social media, there's TikTok, there's what was it like for Emilio when you got started? Your prospecting, did you pick up the phone? Like, who were you calling? Just so that our audience knows who exactly is giving some advice right now.
Oh man, it's like I think of like the Notorious B.I.G.'s song "It Was All a Dream," right? Like that's a great song, and I was literally the brokest dude you would ever meet at that time. And I'm telling you, I didn't even have gas for my car. My car was like half broken down, muffler hanging off, bumper hanging off, just a mess. And I was hungry, and I was going out there. I could not afford food. I was getting evicted from my apartment, and the only thing that saved me in that time of this first 6 months of real estate where I didn't get a paycheck was just the grind. God, of course, number one, but going out there, it snowed and I got to shovel driveways and I got just enough money to eat and get situated. But then I got my first sale, and it happened by knocking on doors. It happened by making the calls. And I know you're big on making the calls. If you want to survive in this business, you have to make calls. You have to shake hands. You have to network.
So, is that something that you were taught? Did you yourself join a team, or what did that look like?
No, actually, so my friend that got me into this business, he actually had a team at Keller Williams, and he still does. Very successful guy. He's like, come down, check out what we're doing. And they were doing great things. But me, I like, I think I had it in me. I wanted to do it my own way. And that's going to resonate with a lot of people listening to this right now, right? Like you want to do it your own way, maybe you want to start your own team. And so no one taught me. I learned the hard way. I saw what people in the marketplace were doing and what they weren't doing, and I knew what kind of person I wanted to be, how I wanted to show up, and I had a vision of where I wanted my business to be.
Mhm.
S- And that pulled me. The vision pulls you. You have to have a vision.
Yeah, because I know that there's probably a lot of agents that maybe they're thinking, you know what? I know that I can be a leader, but at the same time, right now, I know that I don't know everything, and I should probably join a team if I want to at least make a paycheck or stay in this business.
Yeah.
Do you think ego plays a part in the success, or maybe some agents like kind of like staying solo versus getting some help as in a team?
Ego is our enemy, and my ego was my enemy at many points in my life. Okay, and the ego is always going to get in the way. We're human, right? But you got to let that go, and you got to be okay with failing. You have to be okay with rejection, and I do think it's great to learn from somebody. Not only, and by the way, I've been listening to your YouTube channel for like 10 years when you first started, right? And so with all of the access that we have, the talent like you and like others out there, there's no excuse really to fail. Like this just came to me. I have to say this. No one is self-made. I cannot stand that comment. I'm self-made, right? So you can't do it on your own. Even though you have ideas of where you want to go, surround yourself with people that are already doing it at big levels, or watch them from afar. Reach out to them, ask them questions. You'll be surprised at how much you'll actually get back from there. And as you go, expect to fall on your face. It's okay to fail. Every time you fail, you learn how to not do something.
So going back to your story, when you got started, obviously you were knocking on doors, picking up the phone. At what point did you see that, okay, you know what? I actually want to start a team. And did you have like a blueprint to follow, or what was it like for you?
Oh, this is actually a great story. So I was literally a year and a half, 2 years into the business, and I had 8 transactions at one time, and I noticed that stuff was just like falling through the cracks. And my clients for the first time were upset with me, and I was like, "Oh no!" I was forgetting paperwork. I was forgetting a showing one time, like all these things. And I was like, I don't want people to have my name attached to that experience. So I, just started my team, and I made a mistake. A mistake, yes and no, but the first hire was basically my mistake and how I did it. I hired an agent instead of a transaction coordinator. So look, if you're starting a team, the number one hire you need to make is somebody that's going to take the minutia off your plate. Anything that is stopping you from going out and building business and networking, any income generating activities have to go. Okay. So some of those things are paperwork, got to go. MLS entry, got to go. Scheduling showings, got to go. Sending your clients disclosures or information on listings, got to go. You got to take your time back.
I feel like we got to get a shirt, got to go. If it's not income producing, it's got to go.
It's got to, toss it, toss it. I boiled my systems down where I'm doing, so the advisors on my team are doing roughly like 19% of the actual transaction. It's all that face-to-face handshaking, relationship building, stuff that an advisor has to do. That's what we're doing. That's what we're focused on.
So along with that, you mentioned you had 8 transactions going on. Things were falling through the cracks. I mean, at what point does any agent know or should consider possibly getting ready to start a team? Whether it's, having a transaction coordinator or a showing agent, or like, is there a certain amount of transactions consistently, or what can that kind of look like?
Yeah, so there's no such thing as like a certain amount of transactions. First and foremost, if you want to start a team, you have to have listings. You have to have listings, right? Gary Keller said it. You got to list to last, right? And that always stayed with me. But it's true. If you look around at all the major teams, any major players, any major solo agents out there, they have what? They have listings. They have the product. They have the inventory. If you don't have the product, what do you have to sell? You're basing all of your business off buyers that, you know what I mean? That like, hey, they could buy, they might not buy. When I have a listing, guess what I have? I have an opportunity to attract other listings, an opportunity to attract other buyers, an opportunity to scale. So you need listings. And I would say this, have at least 2 to 4 listings at a pop at a time. And in my opinion, that's the best time to start a team, when you have consistent business, because then you can have an advisor come in and work those listings, work the buyers that you're pulling from those, work the open houses, and it's the gear that just keeps it all moving.
I love that you brought up listings because I talk about that all the time, about just going after listings. So for anyone that's listening that maybe wants to transition from working with buyers to now focusing on listings and starting to build that listing pipeline, is there a specific lead source or sources that you recommend that they go after? And some of this they might already know, but I think they might just need to hear it from you now.
Listen, I think working with buyers, by the way, is super important. And I do have to say this, if you're buyer heavy, that's not a bad place because all those buyers are probably going to sell. I mean, people are selling their houses faster than they're selling cars in many, like buying new cars in many cases, at least over here in Rhode Island, right? So I would say this, if you've been in the business for 2, 3 years and you've been working buyers, reach out to all of your old contacts, okay? Something like 70% of agents don't even reach out to their buyers, and then they end up selling with somebody else when they would have used you. So that's number one, is use the people that you've already not used them, you know what I mean? Like, sounds awful. Call the people that already know you, trust you, gave you business, and just say, hey, I'm doing an annual value report. And hey, by the way, this is powerful. Hey, I put together a whole list of all the local services in the area that I trust, that I know, that I would send to my mom, like a landscaper, like an electrician, this and that. So if you've ever had any trouble like finding these type of professions to help you in your home, I'm going to send you a list every year. I'm going to mail that over to you. I'm going to email it over to you too. By the way, how's everything at the house? By the way, who do you know that I could help buy or sell real estate with? You know, ask for that referral.
Yeah, I think referrals is important. And, it's funny because a lot of times as agents, I see it happen all the time. They close a deal with a buyer and they forget about them. They're on to the next, trying to figure out where the next paycheck is going to
Yeah,
come
that's
from.
right.
Instead of seeing, if that person might know of anyone that might need some help. And, we're talking about, looking for a team, kind of vetting the team. What do you think is the reason why most teams struggle with retention?
Oh man. Well, before I answer that, I want to finish the last answer because I went off in a tangent, right? I got excited. Like the best lead source, and then please ask me that question
Yes,
again.
yes.
So the best lead source, okay? Forget about all the shiny objects, okay? The best lead source is a network. And I'm telling you, I sat down at a private office event. That's the top like 1% of advisors at Engel and Völkers across the world at a round table, and there was 8 of us. And I went around. I said, "Where's all your business come from? Where's all your business come from? Where's yours?" And they all said, "Network, network, network, network." Now, network is a vast word for it could be agent to agent referrals, or it could be businesses. And I want you to think about, write down people you know that could match this, or find them online. uh, Tax planners, right? Tax strategists. They help people with their money, with CPAs as well. You could have a divorce attorney. They're helping people to sell assets in the divorce, okay? Financial advisors. They're helping people manage their money, help them buy investments, refer people like you and me to these people. Trust attorneys, like estate planners, like you have funeral directors. Like, you got to go out in the community and meet with these people, shake hands, and have coffees with these types of businesses. Anybody who helps anybody manage business, manage money, that's where it's at, guys.
Well, one thing that I know someone out there is thinking this. Well, Emilio, you know what? I'm not really an extrovert and I'm kind of uncomfortable talking to people or, getting out of my comfort zone. How can I win that over?
Mm. All right. So, make it focused about them. And so what you do is you just give them a call, or you just, yeah, I'd say call them at that point. Then you got to break a little bit out of your shell. You got to trust in yourself. You got to be confident, and you got to know that you bring value to the table. If you're listening to this right now, you care about your career, you care about your growth, and you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your family to allow you to do your best. And sometimes you got to get a little uncomfortable. You do it 1 or 2 times. I promise you it gets easier. You give them a call. You tell them who you are. Hey, it's so and so with ABC Agency. Look, I'm looking for a company like yours to refer my clients to. I've had a number of clients move into the area. I would love a trusted referral partner that I could send business to, but also you might need a realtor at some time. So would you care to meet for a cup of coffee? Who's going to say no to that? Who? Maybe somebody retiring? I wouldn't say no to that. I'd be like, all right, well, this person's hungry and maybe they'll send me business. Why not? Let's sit down. I'm telling you, you're going to open doors and that's it. It's a people business. It's never, ever going to be replaced by technology. And yeah, you could pay Zillow, you could pay all these other lead providers, but why pay when it can come in for free?
And is there a certain amount of maybe people an agent should have as a goal to meet every single week, or whether it's build relationships with when it comes to businesses?
You know, my thing is this, is you need to have an appointment, at least one appointment every day. If it's not with a buyer or a seller, it needs to be with an agent in a feeder market, okay, that's maybe tied into your brand, or it could be a local business person. Focus on one appointment a day, and if you're new and if you don't have children, you're not married, whatever it is, you got to go hard right now. You got to be doing at least 7 appointments per week. And I'm telling you, it gets easier and easier and easier. And every person you meet with, you're going to say, hey, who do you know that I could help? Hey, do you know anybody that does this? So check this out, right? So you're sitting down with like that. Don't call an accountant right now. They're too busy, right? You're sitting down with like a financial advisor. Hey, I need a really good accountant when it's time. Who would you suggest? Hey, I need somebody that is an estate planner, like an estate attorney. Who do you suggest? Now you call that estate attorney. Okay. And you say, hey, so-and-so, I just sat down with, they love you. They said a lot of great things. I'd love to tell you, like, I'd love to learn more about you and see if I could refer you business. So you could do it that way, or you could even ask that first person, hey, send me a text intro, and just do that every single person and you will line up appointments.
I love that. And it sounds so easy to do because there is someone else that's making that introduction or telling you, hey, reach out to so and so. So now it's almost not like a random call. It's like, hey, Emilio gave me your information and he said that you're amazing at XYZ and I just want to connect and let's get together.
Yeah. And yo, check this out too, right? Like you walk into like a bathroom in a public place and they got these big dispensers with the paper towels in there. Well, now instead of paper towels, that's cash. And every single one of those people you're talking with is a cash dispenser for you. Like, that's just how it works. And then once they trust you and know you, they're going to refer you over and over and over.
Yeah, I love that. Because sometimes we need to visualize that. The way that I like to see it too, when I make calls and I tell agents, every house that I see a for sale sign with the sold sign on it. That's how I see it. That's what motivates me to make the calls instead of, oh, am I bothering someone? No, right. They need your help.
They do.
But so I have a question for you, and I got this one from an agent who knew we were doing this live stream, and she said, you know what, I have this question, would love for you to answer it live. So she was a part of a team previously, ended up leaving that team because she wants to focus on listings, and that specific team, they were trying to make her only focus on buyers.
Oh, no.
So what advice would you have for her? Because she ended up leaving the team, going solo, and now she's at a point that she's prospecting every day. She has a rental listing right now. She's like, I feel like I'm going crazy and I need help, but I don't want to go back to that team. So what do I do?
Yo, that woman right there is a boss. I'm telling you, you know what? She knows what she wants. She knows what she doesn't want. She knows what she needs to do, or at least she's trying to figure that out. So look, if you are on a team right now and they're telling you you can only work with buyers, you got to get out of that team. That is toxic. Run. I want my advisors on my team looking and prospecting for sellers. I want them working sellers because more sellers equals more business into the team at better for everybody. Okay. So that's like such an old school mentality. And I know there's some team leaders that might be like, Emilio, you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe I don't. I don't know. But you're listening to me on this show. Yes. So maybe I do. But anyways, back to that girl. I think you're doing the right thing. And if you cannot find a team that accepts that, you go build your own. I think you're ready to build your own. Even though you have one rental listing, look, just go at it. Go all in and go for listings.
That's awesome. I know
Yeah,
she's gonna be really excited to hear that. I've been mentoring her a lot when it comes to listings. So it's funny that you mentioned what you did about her being a boss.
total
I think
boss.
she's
Yeah,
learning from
yeah,
yes, but yeah, I wanted to touch on that because I hear that so many times of agents that say, yeah, I came in and they want me to focus on buyers and just do open houses, which there's nothing wrong with doing open houses. But if someone has a desire to go after for sale by owners and expireds, which
yeah,
is what she is doing, um, when it comes to maybe looking for another team, if she did not want to build her own, what
yeah.
would be the best way? Would it be kind of going on the MLS and looking, or what would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, you could also go into Chat GPT and you could say, "Hey, give me the top 10 mentioned teams in my marketplace," and then just start there, and then just start Googling all of them and seeing what comes up. Go to their website. Um, who knows? Maybe even pop into one of their open houses. Ask their team members, "How is it like working on this team?" Call a team leader direct. What's up? Are you looking for somebody that can go out there? Do you only let us do buyers, or will you let us hold open houses? And when I hold open houses, when sellers come in, can I keep those sellers or do I have to give them to you? If they say that you have to give the sellers to the team leader, bounce, go somewhere else.
Mm, yeah. Another question that I typically get, and I'm sure you hear it also, is, well, you know what? I want to join a team, but I don't want to give away so much of my commission and the transactions.
Uh, one thing that realtors are bad at is like understanding bottom line numbers. Not all realtors, but a good chunk, right? And over the past 5 years, right, I've been in charge of recruiting at Engel and Völkers here in Rhode Island. I'm one of the owners here, in addition to my team. And I can't believe how many times you'll sit down with people and you can make them more profitable by saving them time, giving them leverage, giving them access to better listings, and they just don't see it because they're just going for the shiny high split type of environments, which, hey, it's okay. It's just at the end of the day, if you're looking to join a team, you're going to get so much more support. You're going to get so many more opportunities, and 0 0 0 or 100% of 0 is 0. Okay. So if you have no opportunities versus you could have 5 opportunities, and if you're getting 40%, 30%, 50% on those, you're making money. And with the right team structure, you're probably doing limited administrative work. So realistically, you're making double, triple that,
Mhm. Yeah.
and you could scale, and you're getting referrals from those. In some teams, the way they're set up, like mine, if our team advisors bring in their own business, then they get incentivized, they get rewarded for that, they get more pay for that.
And I want to touch on what you just mentioned of how you are running your team. But before we get to that, another scenario that I have that kind of ties into this is I was recently talking to an agent. It's a husband and wife team. They've been in the business, I want to say, for 10 years. And she said, you know what, Loida, our business is thriving, but we're going to go on vacation in March. And when we go, like, business stops. And
Ooh.
in the past, I have built a team, but then the agents, they stick around, and then after a while they leave because they
Mm.
just want leads. And now I'm afraid I don't want to go back into that circle of creating a team because they're just going to leave. So for someone who's in that situation, what are some of the things that they need to shift?
Mm. Well, first off, I love that it's a husband wife team. I think that's fantastic because real estate is such a tough business. And when your significant other is not in real estate, it is hard when those calls and texts are coming in at all hours, and they need to be fully supportive. So, number one, they got that right. Number two, they just have to find the right people for the bus, right? They just got to get the right people on the bus. And some of the ways you could do that is with the disc profile. They probably weren't hiring to people that were complementing their personalities, their characteristics, their traits. And I can give you like a for instance, right? Like, I'm a high D personality. And by the way, if you don't know what a disc profile is, Google disc, DISC, Tony Robbins. There's a free version. Go ahead, take that, upload your answers into Chat GPT. Say, how does this relate to me with real estate? Where are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Whatever, right? It'll tell you. So as a high D, other high Ds, we fight. And I hired another high D on my team, and it was awful. And another one, it was awful. So you got to hire the personalities that cater to your weaknesses. My weakness is paperwork, administrative stuff, things like that. So you just gotta get that fine balance. Just a side note here. And I think that's it. And also you have to find somebody that fits your culture, you know. And I know the word culture gets thrown around way too much, right? But it's a real thing. And you need to find somebody that believes in your vision and trusts your vision as the leader, but people that don't want to just bounce around, people that are really along for that ride. And that can be hard to do sometimes. So it all starts with a two-part meeting. I meet with them first about culture, make sure I like them, make sure they like me. I set expectations, what I expect, our accountability, how all that works, how we track everything, Loida. And then the second time around, then we talk money and logistics and all that jazz.
And then is that also where you're breaking down the expectations of what you're going to give them in terms of, I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of agents, they join teams thinking, well, I'm joining because I want leads. I want
Nope.
leads handed to me.
Get out, get out. What are you going to give me? You're like, look, it's like, here's what I'm going to give you. What are you going to give me? This is a two-way road, right? Like anybody that comes in that is so one way, gone. By the way, you can stiff that out within the first 5 minutes, easy. You know, because you just simply do this. If you're a team leader or an aspiring team leader, you ask that person, hey, what's it like at your current brokerage? And if they're sitting there bashing their current broker or they're bashing anybody, Loida, that's a red flag, right? Like, because they should be professional, knowing that these people are in the marketplace. So, you know, they could talk about concerns, but when they're naming people and bashing people, they're probably going to bash you, and they're probably going to bring a toxic energy to you too. You got to have peace on a team.
So when it comes to your team, because you mentioned quite a few things and I'm like, that's great. I'm sure other teams are not doing this. Can you kind of break down how, first of all, how you go about finding agents? Are they reaching out to you? They see what you've been doing? And then also, how is it currently structured?
So shout out to the DiSpirito team. I've got some fantastic people on the team. They're so supportive, not only of the team and me, but of each other. And we operate like a team. So I want to tell you something real quick, though. Like, we are a team, so we huddle every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We get on a 7 a.m. call together. Monday, a different advisor each week does the tip of the week. So they're telling us like, hey, this is what's working right now to get listings, to get buyers. Here's how I handle this situation. Whatever they pick, here's how to use this tech. Tuesday, we're talking about sellers we have so we can collaborate and work with our buyers and sellers. Wednesday, we're talking about buyers. So we're always collaborating. We're always lifting each other up. So that's super important. The way my team is structured is I have 8 advisors in total right now, which includes me. I have my team manager, and his name is Joe Fazio. 10 years ago when I met him, he walked into my office, Loida, and I had a stack of like index cards on my desk. And he goes, Emilio, what's that? And I said, those are my leads. He's like, those are your leads? And I was like, yeah, those are my leads. Those are my clients. He's like, dude, we need to get you into 2016. So he put all of that on a computer, and he helped to set up systems around what I'm bad at, which is a lot. So this is important. This is going to be a good tip right here for people. He said to me, okay, he said, Emilio, write down everything you do in a day, and I want you to do this for a week. That was mind-blowing. I wrote down everything I did in a day for 3 days, and then I had enough. And I said, Joe, take this. This is what I do. I can't even believe I do all this stuff. What a waste of time. I was so frustrated. He said, great. I'm glad you're frustrated. Cross out everything you don't want to do. So I'm going to town, Lloyd. I'm like, crossing this out, this out, this out, right? I'm like, what do I want to do, right? I want to talk with people. I want to make relationships. I want to negotiate. I want to price houses. I want to help with the marketing. Everything else we got rid of. So we built a team around a producing agent. And my business that year went from 18 million to 27 million in 1 year. Okay. Same amount of people on the team, just a whole different process. And I know I'm talking a lot right here. I got a lot to say about this.
No, this is great.
I got more. All right. All
Yeah.
right. So that was like kind of like the real start of like how our team was structured. Now, as far as like So we have our advisors, which, by the way, one of them, Jackie Crum, has been with the team since the start. Okay. And then all of our other team members, I have 2 that were clients that were like, hey, I love this. I have 1 that's my fiance, right? And wait, 3 that were clients. Like 1 that's my fiance, and 1 of them now that's my business partner at E&V, and then our other advisors, which is just amazing, right? So it's like kind of like this organic thing that just happens. And then we have our transaction coordinator, who does all of like the administrative work, but he also like he'll do things like he'll make sure like the smoke detectors are all in. He'll teach the sellers, hey, listen, if they're not all in, well, call this number for this guy that'll go install them. So it saves us from going out with the drill, putting all those things up. That's a waste of time. Don't do that. We also have our client concierge, Casey, and her job is to schedule all of our showings for our buyers. She sends all of the disclosure forms from MLS, answers all basic questions for our clients, and it keeps our advisors on the road. And Loida, do you know how many hours per transaction on average people spend on the transaction coordination end of it? About 30. About 30.
Wow.
Do you know how many hours they spend scheduling and trying to get a hold of stuff and this and that, all the other stuff that Casey
so much
does?
time.
15 hours.
Wow.
So what happens when you're getting all of that back? Where can you spend that time?
Yeah, getting more business. Income producing activities.
That's right. So, there's more to it, but I feel like I went on a tangent there. Like, I hope I didn't lose people, but it's involved, and our team system has evolved, and it's a living, breathing thing.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you kind of broke it down and shared everything that you did, because it gives agents a good idea of what a successful team where agents are staying for a long time, what that looks like, and also the expectations that you as a team leader have. And, even the fact that you mentioned that your agents can go after listings and, they get rewarded and incentivized for doing different things. I think if anything, it opens some people's eyes like, okay, so there are good teams out there, because I've been in one that I never want to see the team lead again. Maybe that might be someone that's watching this right now.
Could be. There's a lot of great teams out there, a lot of great teams to be. There's a lot of great people on this call that are probably going to start a team. That could be your next guest,
Exactly. Yes. So in regards to agent professionalism, I want to get your thoughts on that. Just anything that comes to mind, because there's so many things that come to mind when I think about professionalism, but I know that we discussed that and talked about it briefly when I was in your podcast wrapping up. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I have a rule here at this brokerage that a lot of agents listening to this might not like, and it's professional dress. Okay, look, if I'm buying a home, like if I put the consumer hat on, if a guy comes to my house in sneakers, jeans, and a sweatshirt on, I'm not taking that dude serious, right? And there's very few people that are so charismatic that can get away with this, okay? And again, it's different market to market, I know, but we have a lot of that happening in our marketplace. The very nonchalant, very like, whatever. Like, how is anyone, like, I can't take someone serious if they're not dressed. Like, I don't get dressed for me. I get dressed for you guys. I get dressed for my clients because I'm saying you mean something to me. You mean enough to me that I am here and I care about my appearance, because this is a reflection of the professionalism that you're going to experience. So that's number one. So standards, really, they start with your appearance. They start with making sure you're not late. And if you're running late for something, don't just not tell them. Hit them up with a text or a call and say, hey, I'm running 5 behind. Don't say late. I'm running 5 behind. I'm running 10 behind. Is that okay? Give them a heads up. Even if I'm 3 minutes behind, hey, I'm running 3 minutes behind. Is that okay? Now, when I walk into someone's home, my advisors walk into someone's home, first thing we ask is, hey, do you want us to take off our shoes? And in the United States, it's not so common, but it's becoming more and more commonplace. And, or sometimes I'll even just, if the floors are nice and clean, the house is clean, I'm taking my shoes off. They're not even asking me. One time I did it and I had a hole in my sock. It was awful. Good thing I cut my toenails that day.
That's hilarious.
So
Yeah,
those examples.
yeah, no, those are great. And I love that you mentioned the being on time, because I think that's a big one. And in our industry, I don't know why, but it's almost like people know realtors are never on time. And it bothers me personally, because the way that, I was trained in this business, it's very structured. Prospecting, lead generation, income producing activities, follow up, everything is like, I know what I'm doing. And if I tell a client I'm going to be there at 5 o'clock, I'm there at like 4:40, parked outside their driveway.
Yeah.
So whenever I see agents, whether they're showing up like right on the dot or a few minutes behind, I'm like, and then you see why people don't take us seriously. You can't even show up on time for an appointment or text or call. Another big one that I like to say is, you know what, you mentioned it. If you're not going to be somewhere, at least let them know. Or if you're going to do something, let's say I say, hey, after our call, I'm going to send you an email or shoot you a text or send you some info. Actually do it, because people are expecting it. I've had so many different scenarios and different times that I have called expired, set an appointment. There was one specifically, I showed up to the appointment and they had told me that they were interviewing another agent. I knew I was the second one. I show up, I was like, oh, how did it go with the previous agent? Oh, they didn't show up. They didn't show up. Did they tell you? No, they didn't even call us or anything. I'm like, perfect, because I'm the right one for this job to get done. So let's go and through it. And I got the listing. So
Wow.
little things like that I'm like, it blows my mind.
It totally blows my mind. And you know what? That's the other thing too, is like when you're sitting down with prospective clients, they're like, oh, well, we're going to interview other people and stuff. You get that a lot less when your communication from the get-go is crisp. And there's a few things that you can do with that, right? As soon as I'm on the phone with them, I'm getting or a text, I'm getting their email, and I send them a calendar invite. Even if it's for our first discovery call, sending a calendar invite, discovery call, so-and-so and Emilio. I call them up. I book that appointment on the phone. I say, hey, listen, before the appointment, I'm going to go ahead and mail you our pre-listing package, or I'm going to email it to you, whatever. What do you prefer? Oh, drop it off. Okay, great. I'm not going to stay. I'm not going to get in your way. I just want to drop this off. Drop it off at the doorstep, or I email it, whatever they prefer. It should be your team resume. It should build you up. So when you're going in there and meeting with these people, you're not talking about yourself. They already know. They're going to do their research, right? They're going to look that up. And like really just those little things alone are going to help you cut through the noise. And by the time you get there, they might just sign with you.
Yeah, these are little things that are setting you up for success. And that's what's going to make you stand out versus other agents that don't do anything. Pretty much, I've seen.
Yeah. And there's too many of them, right?
Yes.
Like, it blows my mind. But I want to say this too, though. Listen, if you are on this call and you don't have any transactions behind you, we all started there. Or if you're having a bad year and you're like, I just keep hitting the wall, you're still going, you're still here, you're still showing up, right? So you got to give yourself credit and understand that this is a business where we have to be resilient, and it's okay to feel like this at times. I feel like it almost every day. There's some days I'm like, how am I going to get out of bed today? But you just do it. Throw your feet on the floor and say, I'm going to make it happen. There's something I'm doing today that is going to move me to the next step of my career, right?
And for any agents that are part-time, because I'm seeing a lot more agents that are either they've gone from full-time to part-time because their production was low and they need to get a job. What advice do you have for them?
Quit your job and go back into real estate and prospect. And if you don't want to prospect, real estate's not for you. Listen, if you don't like to prospect, then you have to find some team that is just going to feed you all this stuff, and you're going to get a low split. End of story. There's no magic pill. Business is just going to come out of the sky. I get so annoyed with that part-time mindset. And listen, if you're a single mom, a single dad, you have kids you got to feed or whatever, you're in a good spot. Your back is against the wall and people are depending on you. That means you need to be out there banging on doors, calling people. You need to be relentless, and that's when you're going to make it. So if that doesn't work for you, if you're not relentless like that, Go get a job at the gas station or at the retail store. And I'm not talking down. I'm saying you're going to put yourself in the corner over there. I'd rather be in the corner and eat ramen noodles for 6 months, a year, okay, and then buy my family an amazing home 2 years later than, be a part-time renter my whole life. And no offense, but that's the reality of it.
I love it. I feel like I'm going to need to clip that. And then when anyone says, Loida, I'm not motivated, here, you got to listen to Emilio. He's going to lit a fire.
Because there's, what? I see so many people with the potential and then they just get down on themselves. And like, bad self-talk is real. And we need to lift ourselves up, because if we're not going to do it, no one else is, right? And then the other thing too is like having a mentor. Like, Loida, what you do and how you coach people, and you do it, I'm sure you have coaching clients, but you do it out of the kindness of your heart because you love this business too. Like, you really want to see people succeed. So listen, pop on one of her videos. Just look for that inspiration somewhere. I promise you it's going to pay dividends later on when you stay consistent.
And I want to ask you to share with the audience. Maybe someone's like, you know what, I want to know what Emilio recommends for like a prospecting routine, because he fired me up. I need to get my stuff together. I need to go knock on doors. I need to talk to people. Like, what should that look like? Share it with us.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be different for each type of person, but I think before you can prospect, you got to work on yourself. So go ahead and pick up the book Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. We're actually going to be interviewing him on the Wealth Architect podcast, so make sure you check that out. I don't have the exact date; it's in the middle of March. But look, that talks about how you need to set the foundation with the right morning routine. Okay. So if you feel like you don't have enough time in the day, you feel like you have low energy, you feel like you're mentally exhausted, you have to have a morning routine. Wake up earlier before the world is awake, before everyone's demanding everything from you, and give yourself that time to focus on your fitness, to focus on your mental game, to focus on your spiritual game. I promise you, everything is going to get better when you have a solid foundation. If you're waking up and you're like, oh my gosh, like you got a gut, like a beer gut, like you can get rid of that, guys. Okay. But like you gotta work on all that stuff. And you're going to feel better, and that's going to shine through when you prospect. I'm telling you. So miracle morning, start that, do that routine. And then from there, my suggestion would be prospect in the morning time, put appointments in the afternoon, okay? Or follow-ups in the afternoon, because that morning time is gold. That's where you're going to have most of your energy. People usually crash in the afternoon, and you're going to need that energy to go. Everybody you connect with, either at an open house, follow up with, send them a thank you card. We have these really beautiful wax sealed cards that we send out. Just, you got to fire on all cylinders. There's not one size fits all. Find what you like. Find what works for you. It could be Mojo Dialer, Red X. It could be just, pulling expireds from MLS and just calling them, direct door knocking. It could be networking. There's a million things we could be doing. Go into Chat GPT. Give me 100 different things I could do to prospect for sellers today. It'll give it to you.
So there's no excuse, pretty much, for anyone who's listening to this. There's no excuse as to you not knowing what leads to go after. If anything, ChatGPT 100. I mean, and another thing that I want to ask you, because I hear this all the time. Well, Emilio, I'm in this funk. I feel like I can't get out of this. Like nothing's working. I'm making the calls. How do you stay motivated?
Oh, man, it happens a lot in this business. It's a roller coaster, right? And like, you got to just take a second, okay? Notice that feeling, all right? If you have to close your eyes in a quiet place, notice that feeling, and you got to let that thing go. And you got to say, there's nothing I could do about those past situations that really annoyed me or that are affecting me. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to let that go. And then you got to get right back into it. And you got to change your mindset, because people feel your energy. Mm-hmm. I could tell you a few years ago, about 6 years ago, I was going on listing appointments. I was just losing them. And I was so mad at everybody. And I was like, wait a second. Like, maybe my frown, going in there is really hurting me. Like, what happens if I go back to like my normal self where I'm happy, energetic, I love my job? Let me try that. So a lot of times it just has to do with how we're showing up.
Mhm. So how you're showing up, maybe put a smile in your
Yeah.
face. I like to
Yeah.
have a mirror in front of me when I'm making calls or
I
talking
saw
to
that.
people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah, and
great.
you know what's funny? Whenever I have made calls, there's been times that people are like, "Why are you so happy? You sound like you're really happy." And it's
Can
like,
hear it.
"Yes, I am." They could see it. It's almost like they can feel it, even though they have no idea like what you look like.
Yeah. No, you can hear your smile. Like when you're talking, you can totally hear your smile, right? Which is huge. And like there's a huge difference. Just go in the mirror and smile and talk versus not smile. Like you can hear that.
Mhm. And then also, when I've gone door knocking, I always have like a smile in my face, because sometimes what ends up happening is that people unconsciously they'll just start smiling too because they're just like, "Hi," and then that's exactly what I want. Now I'm in,
Amen.
the guard is down, and we just have a conversation.
At the end of the day, we're working with people. This is a people business. And we only get paid when we do what we're supposed to do. So, I mean, like, think about that from that perspective. When consumers talk with us, they know, like, all right, well, I don't have to give these guys money right now. Like, think about that. Like, so that should kind of take your guard going into these things down a little bit. Here's another thing about mindset, right? If they're not going to list with you, they're probably going to list with somebody that is nowhere near as competent as you, and they're not going to get the same type of service. So go in there knowing you're going to win this appointment with that confidence and focus on them first. Your presentation has to be, how is it focused around their goals? What are you going to do for them? How are you going to deal with offers when they come in, right? Are you going to just accept the first offer? Or are you going to say, whoa, hold on, this offer might not be good for you. Hang tight. We're going to get you a better one. Like all of that has to shine through.
Mhm. To add on to that, I have a very quick story. So
Mm,
years ago, I had a for sale by owner that I had cold called. I set an appointment. I went on the appointment. I felt like I was there for like 2 hours handling objections, like every single thing that you can think of. Like, I have a friend that's an agent. I'm only going to do it for 4%. You could just bring me a buyer. I mean, I was handling every objection, but I knew that I was the agent and he
yeah.
needed my help. Well, long story short, I ended up walking because I'm like, I've already done everything that I could. And I told myself, if I can't get it, good luck. No one can get it because I
Mhm.
did everything that I could to be able to demonstrate my value and to share that with this for sale by owner that they needed to work with me. Um, well, fast forward a month later, I end up getting a random text message. Hey, Loida, would you still be interested? I want to hire you to sell my house.
Beautiful.
Commission, yeah. So he went back after I had left the first time. He said, "Yeah, you know what? I actually do have a friend. They're going to do it for 3%." Okay, perfect. I'm glad that you had that person then.
Mm,
And yeah, still ended up coming back because he saw that I was the better choice out of the other options. And I think that goes back to what you were just saying, like demonstrating the value and how we can help the client and get them the results that they were looking for. And yeah, this just goes to show when you are working on your skills and you communicate and you know how to handle objections and demonstrate to someone, hey, if you go with me, this is what's going to happen and how it's all going to lay out.
mhm.
When it comes time, they're like, you know what, Emilio's the right agent. Why am I even like thinking about doing this on my own or hiring any other agents? So I just wanted to share that because I know that there's probably someone out there that's calling Fizbills and they're giving up, and you might be surprised they might call you back.
Oh yeah, no, it's true. When you were talking about objections, Lloyd, I just right away I thought about the cash cards. Have you seen these? They're called.
Yes.
All right. So Jordan Stupar. I always screw his name up. He's awesome. He came on the Wealth Architect too, but the cash cards for real estate, buy those. And what they are is they are, I don't know, if there's like 52 of them. It's all objections that we get hit with. And you just go through, and in the morning time, sometimes I'll take them out and I'll just read them and read them and read them. I want to wait. I got to talk with my wife. Now's a bad time to sell. Now's a bad time to buy. Waiting for rates to go down. Waiting for the market to crash. My friend sells real estate. All these objections, which you might already have some of the answers to, but it's really good to sharpen your brain and then they hit you with these objections, and you're just like clearing them like right away, right?
Yeah. I always have this image of like Wonder Woman just like fighting off, the bullets, but their objection is like, hit me with your objection because I got an answer. Like nothing's going to stop me. But it just goes to like practicing so much every single day, everything that you can think of.
Yeah. And that's it. It's like it's such a skill-based business. And you know what? I'm not selling anything that people don't need. If they don't need the kind of house, like they're not number one, they shouldn't be buying it. But like I don't want to go in there and sell anybody anything. I want to help people get what they want. And our job is to be a guide. Our job is to advise people and take them to the end, take them to the closing table. We got to get them there. We got to get them this home. And, that's our job. And our job is after they buy or after they sell, we got to make sure that they're good to go with all areas of their life. And when you can become that go-to person for all areas of somebody's life, hey, my car broke down. Where do I go, Emilio? Hey, I want to take my girl out on a date. Where do you think the best restaurant is? Oh, let me call. I'll get you a table right in the front. Like, be that person.
I love it. I love it. So as we're getting to wrap up, for any agents that want to connect with you, what is the best way that maybe they can reach you, follow you? Go ahead and share that with them.
Yeah, I should have put my Instagram handle down there, but so you can get me at Emilio Div on Instagram. Go ahead, hit me up there, follow me there at Emilio Div or at Wealth Architect Podcast. Either way, you could go ahead, shoot me a DM through there, follow me, check out the content. Love to connect with people all around. Loida, you run such a great show here, and you've helped me out throughout my whole career. You don't even realize that. So I really appreciate you having me on this show.
Yes, no, I appreciate you being available to hop on here. I said, you know what? I got to have Emilio on here because I think we talk about the same things and we think the same when we're like straight shooters on certain topics. So Emilio's information is going to be in the description box, or if you go on my Instagram on the latest reel, he is tagged on there. So make sure that you're following him on Instagram and also the Wealth Architect, because there's a lot of great episodes on there as well that you can watch, including one where he interviewed me recently. So
you killed it. That was awesome.
Thank you so much. Well, Emilio, thank you so much once again for being here. Everyone, you might have to rewatch this a couple of times. And with that being said, I'll see you on the next one.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.